right, Niall, what's in your notes today?
Well, we're back on the Jeffrey Epstein matter, where Donald Trump had the worst day he's had for a long, long time yesterday. And the reason can be summed up in 7 words. Of course, he knew about the girls. Those words, as virtually everyone now knows, came in an email written by Jeffrey Epstein to author Michael Wolff in 2019. So let's be clear what we have here. A notorious sexual predator whose actions caused enormous trauma and misery, saying that the President of the United States, of course, knew about the girls. This new message comes on top of details we already know that seem to point towards something just not right, something shady or even creepy in the Trump-Epstein relationship, like Trump's words from an old magazine profile of Epstein. The future president said, quote, "He's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side." Or part of the message bearing Trump's signature in the now infamous birthday book prepared for Epstein's 50th. Quote, "A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret." Trump denies writing that message. Okay, but still, for Trump, when it comes to Epstein, the personal is for sure political, and these new emails are a major political problem. They add to the public clamour that already exists for a release of the full Epstein files. Congress has the power to make that happen. A handful of Republicans have joined the effort. The push is spearheaded by Republican Thomas Massie and Democrat Ro Khanna. The other 3 Republican signatories to that push deserve a lot of credit, in part because even 6 months ago, nobody would have named these people as the GOP members most likely to stand up to Trump. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Mace, Lauren Boebert. Good for them. The White House is trying and failing yet again to move past the issue. Yesterday, I was at the White House for the media briefing, where Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt argued the release of the new emails was a, quote, distraction. Leavitt was also pressed for details about a quite extraordinary meeting that also took place yesterday. Boebert was apparently summoned to the White House Situation Room for a meeting that included Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel. Here's Leavitt being questioned about that by Mary Bruce of ABC News.
Given your interest in transparency, Caroline, why are White House officials then meeting with Representative Boebert in an effort to try and get her to not sign this petition calling for the release of the files?
Doesn't it show transparency that members of the Trump administration are willing to brief members of Congress whenever they please? Doesn't that show our level of transparency? Doesn't that show the level of transparency when we are willing to sit down with members of Congress and address their concerns? That's a defining factor of transparency.
No, in fact, it isn't. It's not a defining factor of transparency to bring a member of Congress to the Situation Room so you can turn the screws on her, hoping she will back away from supporting a release of the Epstein files. It's the reverse. It's ominous evidence about just how worried Team Trump is. There is something deeply odd and troubling about all of this. Boebert, to her credit, didn't take her name off the petition, despite the White House pressure campaign. Here's Massie talking about that with CNN's Caitlin Collins last night.
Wait, I got to give credit to Lauren Boebert to walk into the White House, the center of power, the free world, really, and to sustain that and to come back out and to be solid, and also to Nancy Mace and Marjorie Taylor Greene. There was all the speculation that they might take their names off, and they never did. So it's not a hoax. It's not a moot point. It is a very serious thing. There are 1,000 victims, and there are survivors who have had a press conference with Ro Khanna and I, and that's what we're fighting for, justice for them.
By the way, Massie's reference there to a moot point is alluding to a comment from the Republican Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. Johnson contends that a full House vote would be irrelevant because of work already being done by a particular committee. Here's Caitlin Collins asking Massie about that.
Since he's the Republican House Speaker, he's calling it totally pointless exercise and completely moot. What do you make of his comments? Do you agree with those?
Well, the White House spent a lot of effort in the midst of a shutdown to stop a totally pointless exercise that's completely mute.
Indeed it did. concern about Trump's relationship with Epstein is not by any stretch confined to liberals or Trump critics. Last month, a new poll from Marist College found 77% of Americans believe all the Epstein files should be released. Trump is resisting every step of the way, but the pressure is building. There will be a full House vote on the matter. That's not only because of the resoluteness shown by those 4 Republicans. It's also because yesterday, finally, Adelita Grijalva was sworn in as the Congresswoman representing Arizona's 7th District. Grijalva was elected a full 7 weeks ago. The delay in swearing her in is believed to be the longest in the entire history of Congress. And the suspicion is that Johnson was delaying because he knew Grijalva would be the vote that would put Massie's petition over the finish line. But she's here now, and here's part of her speech to the chamber yesterday.
Because that's what the American people expect us to do. Fight for them. That is why I will sign the discharge petition right now to release the Epstein files. Justice cannot wait another day.
Sadly, justice will probably have to wait quite a few more days, but it does seem to be coming one way or another, and Donald Trump seems to be very, very worried about that.
Well, I think the answer is to do what, yes, Massie and Ro Khanna and others want to do, which is just release all the files, and Trump should stop blocking that, and Mike Johnson should stop aiding him in that effort. It's what the American people want. It's what, if not Trump personally, many other Republican leaders, including J.D. Vance, promised would happen, and it needs to take place. And these selective releases aren't doing anyone any favors, not doing Trump any favors, because we might learn something if we saw all the documents. That email, I frankly don't know how damaging it is, in my view, because I sort of believe or guessed already that Trump had some concern about Jeffrey Epstein's behavior. Also, that's an email from a time where Jeffrey Epstein has already been gone to prison for sex-related crimes with minors. So Trump knows and everyone knows. The question is, did he know before or at the time?
Right, but Epstein's clearly suggesting that he did know something at the time.
I don't know that he's clearly suggesting that, but that's not my interpretation.
Well, if he knew about the girls and asked Ghislaine to stop, that would surely refer to a time whenever he knew Ghislaine Maxwell was doing something to furnish girls for Epstein, would it not?
I think it suggests a knowledge that Jeffrey Epstein was being creepy around the girls at Mar-a-Lago, an issue that Trump dealt with by having him thrown out of the club. So I don't know that it goes beyond that. And I will again point out that Virginia Giuffre, who's the victim mentioned there, says that Trump didn't do anything wrong.
I think that the point, though, is Trump's extremely aggressive attempt to prevent disclosure obviously fuels the suspicion that disclosure would be more damaging to him.
Yeah, that I agree with, which is why we should just, doesn't matter if it's damaging or not, we just got to see all of it at this point. Something we didn't mention in our discussion of these emails earlier is that another figure who didn't come out looking very well is this former New York Times reporter.
Landon Thomas.
Yes,
right?
who also looked like he was advising, that he was warning Epstein about some inquiry into Ken Starr that would look bad for him or something. That was weird too.
It was weird. That was, I think, hazier than the Michael Wolff example we were talking earlier, but it did look, it was just an odd one. There are lots of emails, not all of them related to Trump at all or anyone else, that are kind of, it's harder to fill in the gaps as to exactly what is meant by them. And there's also like much mockery of Larry Summers, which I don't mind people mocking Larry Summers, but that's a whole other thing.
The way all these people communicate
Yeah.
is also just kind of odd to me, or maybe that's just old people or something, because the emails are short, sometimes one word, lowercase, They email the way I think I would text maybe, but I think even my texts are a little bit more polished than that. I don't know. Young people, I think, use more polished language in texts and even emails than I don't know, that stuck out to me. It's neither here nor there. It was just odd, the literal cadence of his communications to me.
It's the very rich are liberated from the rules of grammar or any sensible kind of emailing, I think.
All propriety has been thrown out,
Exactly.
indeed.
Exactly.
Up next, John F. Kennedy's grandson, Jack Schlossberg, is running for Congress, and he had harsh words for his cousin, RFK Jr. Stay with us.